Down to the border, McAllen, Texas, tomorrow.
Some of us.
And some of us. Stu is not. You know who is?
Surprise.
You know who's not? You know who's not a giant puss?
Children, parents with children under 2, as doctors recommend. Is that what you're talking
Ted
about?
Cruz. Ted Cruz, not a puss.
Does
Does he
Ted
have
gonna be
children
there?
under 2?
Ted's coming.
Is he really? Because I know he's on tour, but
he called yesterday afternoon. He called Mercury One and said, "I'm coming."
Because he had a speech in Denver or something.
Yeah,
right. How do you work that out?
I have no idea.
That's great.
idea. But
That's great.
He called and so he's coming tomorrow.
Yeah, I gave him
Ted Cruz.
So Ted's not a sissy. But
no,
Ted
he's
does not
he's
have
not,
children under
no,
2
he's not-
years old.
no,
That's
no,
what
no,
doctors
no, no.
said. Don't
look
go if you. And
listen,
you know
you've
that.
got your campfire girl meeting. You have to go to.
We understand
You're
that.
wearing your little girl underpants. Don't worry about it.
We know.
Don't worry about it.
We get it.
My daughter is wearing her little girl diapers. That's why I can't go.
Okay,
She's
hide behind your human shield.
Hide
child.
behind medical
Hide behind-
science is what I'm
hide
doing.
behind
Oh my
your daughter.
gosh! You know what? When we come back, you know what we're gonna do?
No.
Real close to you. Now, what do you think? You think we're not gonna? You think you're not gonna get it? You're gonna be around us. If
might as
we
well
have
come.
something, you have something.
So you might as well come.
I disagree with that, and so do
look at
doctors.
this guy is like, Glenn, I can't. You are forcing me to lick all the doorknobs when I get down there, and I'm going to be licking doorknobs. I'm going to be licking the walls. I will be licking their shoes, and I can't do it. You're going to ask me. I know you're on this Jesus kick. You're going to ask me to wash their feet with my hair, and I can't do it.
Luckily, Jesus blessed us with the knowledge of how communicable diseases operate, and that way doctors could learn that information and pass it off to idiots like
Some
us.
of us believe that Jesus heals.
I believe that Jesus heals. He also gives us logic and basic
He also
common
gave us
sense.
antibiotics, and that cures these things.
Oh, yeah. You know what? 2-year-olds do really well with that stuff. In fact, we'll learn when she gets to turn 2 in 6 months.
Don't worry about it.
Oh, okay.
We're down there anyway with a real man, Ted Cruz. So, and you know what's really interesting is the lack of coverage of Ted Cruz going down to the border.
I haven't seen any.
Stu said it had a really interesting deal, because I was talking about, why is nobody covering? This came out yesterday. This is a big deal. Why is no one covering that Ted Cruz is going down to the border for a relief program?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's multiple reasons for it. From the conservative side of things, it's really hard to call you the traitor to the conservative cause on the border when you're being joined by Ted Cruz and Louis Gohmert. And
Mike Lee would have been there if he didn't have a conflict. Mike Lee was the first one to sign up.
He endorsed the plan yesterday.
Yeah.
Commentators like Dana Lash, who's coming up on the show later today.
She's going to be there tomorrow.
Yep.
She's an actual woman. She's going to be wearing men's boxer shorts, I think.
I'm sure she'll look fabulous.
In fact, I believe she has your in her pocket, and she's bringing those down to the border.
Did you just mouth the word on national radio?
I did, because I think everybody else, they know exactly what I said.
She's got Stu's what?
She's
what
No one understands.
He's just got a set of something he likes to keep, in a china closet someplace, where his wife can look at him, take him out, and go, oh, these were useful for some reason. I'm not sure what they were for. I think they might be made out of Lennox, because they're nice and glass and pretty. And they get broken and shattered really easily.
I actually care about my family. But what my point on conservatives was... Look, there's been a very small subset of conservatives that have come out to try to attack you and say how weak you are in the border. I'm starting, because of your attitude today, to agree with them. Right. The bottom line is it's total BS, and when it makes it so much more laughable when people like freaking Ted Cruz are coming down to join in on this.
Yeah, the guy who has a set. Anyway, so that guy, he's coming down now. This is the thing that Stu said. I said, have you noticed the lack of coverage that Ted Cruz is going down to help a charity provide relief for children? How is that not a story? Stu immediately went to the conservative side. I hadn't even thought of that. I was thinking, all of a sudden, the number 2 million was released, and no one on CNN, nobody else, nobody has reported that. They reported that I was first going down because, there was a conflict. There was a conflict. Look at it. Conservatives are fighting against it. But soon as that number became overwhelming, all of the coverage stopped. Have you noticed that? Then Ted Cruz is going down to provide relief. No coverage. That's not news.
This is the guy they love to talk about.
This is the guy they have to paint him into a hater. So they can't cover Ted Cruz. They cannot cover Ted Cruz going down to the border. And I have to tell you something. If I look at the mosaic, I'll bet you this was released yesterday on the Blaze. Let me look here. Where's the Ted Cruz story? Where is the Ted Cruz story? I'm looking at the mosaic, which covers what people are reading.
We won't even cover it.
No, we covered it.
No.
Nobody's reading it. Nobody's reading it. Our viewers and our readers are not even reading it. That should be the number one retweeted story.
I will say
if you like Ted Cruz, this gives Ted Cruz the ammo to be tough on immigration, to be tough on justice. Once you have mercy established, you have credibility to talk about justice.
I will say that I don't think that Ted Cruz having mercy is news to this audience, and that could be part
I know
of
that,
it. But still, to the media,
it is, and we should be retweeting that as conservatives. You should be putting that everywhere. Where's Breitbart on that story? Where is Fox News on that story? You know that Fox News, I can't speak for Breitbart, but I can tell you this: Fox News isn't covering that because Fox News, that's not their pick for president of the United States. Well, it would be a Romney guy or somebody like that. So nobody has any interest.
More like Jeb Bush. He's on about
Jeb
every
Bush.
15 minutes.
If Jeb Bush were going down, I guarantee you Fox News would be covering it. I guarantee it. I can guarantee you if Jeb Bush, NBC would have cameras there. Ted Cruz actually believes in something, actually has compassion. When I first announced this, Ted Cruz was one of the first people. Mike Lee, I happened to be with the day I made the decision, and I said to Mike, and he said, I'm there. He changed his schedule because it was supposed to happen today, and then I had to change my schedule, and so he couldn't get his schedule back in whack. So Mike was the first one. So when I announced it, Ted Cruz immediately. I just want you to know, I think that is absolutely the right thing to do. I just think that having a charitable heart and making sure that we feed children, I can't imagine how that could ever be controversial.
But Ted had a previous commitment that he couldn't get out of and somehow still worked it out to get there.
It's amazing.
Pretty amazing how much he wanted to be there.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And the lack of coverage should tell you everything you need to know. And we are already playing presidential games. We're already playing presidential games. Can't we not play games? Yesterday, I found out, I got a call from Mercury One, who had been down there now for a week, and they said, Glenn, prepare yourself. It's beyond your imagination. Prepare yourself for how bad it is.
How come they didn't tell the rest of us to prepare ourselves? They don't care about us being prepared for it?
No, I want you guys to be in full-fledged shock. He said,
in what way?
He said, the poverty is beyond description. Mm-hmm. He said, we can't, and the sheer number coming over the border is remarkable. He said, it's breathtaking. We're trying to give money to the sheriff's department to help them out. He said, we can't even get them on the phone. He said they're overwhelmed. They're overwhelmed. Things are happening at such a rapid speed.
Got to have the National Guard down there.
Oh, have to. And I want to talk about Rick Perry and what he said yesterday. But anyway, so I'm talking to him, and he starts to cry. And he said, Glenn, this is just such a blessing to the community. He said all of the churches got together a couple of nights ago. And he said, when I first walked in, he said, Glenn, they're overwhelmed. The churches are like, The churches they're nothing but refugee camps. And he said all the parishioners don't know what to do. And everybody is working like crazy. And he said, I go into the main church, and he said they have this little teeny kitchen like they normally do. He said the stove barely, works. He said, and they're feeding all of these people. And he said the whole kitchen is just a nightmare. And he said he looked at the pastor and said, Pastor, how do you do it? And he said, well, we've been trying to do to build a new kitchen. He said for a while, but he said we are so strapped on funds and we don't have it. They start construction on a new kitchen today, because Mercury One was there. And they had a meeting with all these pastors, and many of them don't like me, and they're all Hispanic, and they just thought I was a hater and everything else. And they had a meeting, and and Joe was telling me that they were all in tears, and he was in tears. And one of them stood up and said, can anybody name anybody besides Mercury One? Can you name anybody who has done as much to help us, to help our churches? Can anyone name anyone better than Mercury One? The answer was no. That shows you how alone these people are. I'm not talking about the people coming across the border. I'm talking about the Americans in that town who are struggling just to keep literally their head above water. They are so alone that we are the ones, you are the one that is their savior. And no one will even tell you that. It's important that you know that. You are making a huge difference to Americans. When I said to you when I was at Fox, it's important that you let people know that we surround them, that you're not alone. You're doing that. Even if you just send a check in for $5, I want you to know you're doing that. This is about mercy, not just for the people coming across the border. This is about mercy to our own Americans. The people who, the farmers, the ranchers, the sheriff's department that don't sleep anymore, the border patrol, those innocent children that are coming across. Don't focus on the MS-13 gang members, the rapists and the killers. That's for the government. That's for the government to do their job. That's justice, and I demand justice. But we are to provide mercy. And I want you to know you are changing hearts. The world may never see or make little note of what we do. But in the place that records our true citizenship, it is remembered and noted.